Barça! Barça! Barça!
Hello and welcome to Talk FCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys, and today we are going to be talking transfers once again, and there is a potential incoming at Barcelona in the next few hours. If reports are to be believed, we're going to be discussing that in some more detail. We're also going to be going through our quest to get some player sales over the line in the English Premier League. Just 7 days to go now in the transfer market. Can we shift anyone to those Premier League clubs for big money? We are going to find out in this video. Let's do this. But I will not keep you waiting, guys. Let's first of all go over that potential incoming, and it is actually an interesting one in many different ways, that we are reportedly, according to Sport, on the verge of signing a 19-year-old right-back coming in from the Belgian league, Moussa Wague. That is the man that's being heavily linked to Barcelona. Right now it's unconfirmed whether Wague is looking to go straight into the first team or whether he'll be signed straight into the B team and then given the licence really to go into the first team, make his name, make a few appearances. But either way, Barcelona here are closing in on this signing, if Sport to be believed. Apparently, according to Sport, he's already undergone his medical in Barcelona, and they are expecting him to progress pretty quickly. If he signs a Barcelona B, they expect him to accelerate that process and reach the first team really quickly. If he goes into the first team, he is expected to play a few games, be in rotation, and be there for a backup for Nelson Semedo. The Senegalese right-back who really impressed this World Cup in Russia this summer. He played 3 times in all of Senegal's games in the group stages, and he did actually score in Senegal's 2-2 draw with Japan. That was his first international goal, but at just 19 years old, playing at the World Cup, he looked pretty assured, he looked confident in himself. He's had a good season as well in Belgium before then playing for Eupen. That's who we're signing him for. No word as of yet on the transfer fee, guys, or the length of contract, but I'm sure you'll be getting those details very shortly indeed. But like I say, this is an interesting signing. One, because the player himself has some potential. A lot of people will say, well, should we be looking for Barcelona B? Well, at the moment, there's not really a lot coming off the production line in terms of right back at Barcelona B. It looks like maybe now the ship has sailed for Sergi Palencia, 22 years old now. Is he going to make that move? Is he going to make that step up? He's had a few chances under Valverde and he hasn't quite cut it. Unfortunate for him, where his future lies does look to be outside of Barcelona now. But obviously it's good to see a player coming in that does have that potential. But it's also really good, the second point that I would make, is to bring in somebody who's a natural right back who can play second fiddle to Semedo and then give Semedo that licence to go and nail himself down as that first choice right back. He can now establish himself, have a run of games there, have somebody if we need to, if he's going to come into the first team, and have Wague as a backup, and then that leaves Sergi Roberto to go into the midfield for him to establish himself there in his more natural position and somewhere where he personally feels a lot more comfortable. So I think the signing of Wague, obviously nothing mentioned about the price like I say yet, but it does look on the face of it like a smart piece of business. There is a few rumours in the press that Eric Abidal was the man, the driving force behind this signing, looking to bring in a young right back, somebody who can work under Semedo, work his way into the first team, and then it allows Roberto to move into midfield, and slowly but surely we're getting this team sorted out. One player though who will not be joining Barcelona this summer, or to be honest in the immediate future, is indeed Paul Pogba. There have been a few rumours, lurking around the media throughout Europe really. There was a secret meeting that took place apparently between Eric Abidal and Paul Pogba ahead of a possible transfer from United to Barcelona. What I would say about that secret meeting though that has been reported, it wasn't that secret then, was it? If we've all heard about it. But anyway, that is not the case anyway. L'Equipe have came out this morning, they've completely denied the whole thing, categorically said that is not the case. Pogba is not going to Barca, and Cope in Spain have also echoed that story this morning, and they say basically that any transfer to do with Pogba is impossible right now for Barcelona. Economically, it is simply not viable. He's got a high salary, very high wages, he's got a high transfer fee as well coming in from United. They're not going to let him go cheap, so right now it is simply not going to happen. Pogba to Barça is a non-starter. And keeping on the subject of Man United and players who could possibly be playing with Pogba next season, MINA might just be that man. According to Sky Sports, in the UK, usually pretty reliable when it comes to English clubs, MINA now is Man United's primary defensive target. All summer long, Mourinho has been on the lookout to bring in a new centre-back at United. They've gone after Toby Alderweireld, they've looked at Harry Maguire at Leicester, but right now apparently after those two deals they couldn't get over the line. Now they're looking at MINA and he is their primary target. Barcelona, according to the Spanish media, are looking for between 30 and 40 million euros for the Colombian, of course, who enjoyed a good World Cup. That's raised his value. And you've got to remember, just a few months ago in January, we signed him for 11.8 million euros. So whatever happens this summer, if we do sell MINA, which is looking very, very likely indeed, we are going to make big profit. Another man who could be heading to the Premier League this summer is Paco Alcácer. Now, the club have actively been looking to sell him this summer, looking to move him on, seeing what options are out there. Initially, he was linked with a move back to Valencia, but it doesn't really seem to be happening right now on that front. So Barcelona are looking to the Premier League. He's been offered to a host of clubs, and the latest of which is Watford, of course, and they have a good relationship with Barcelona after we've dealt with them recently, first of all with the loan of Deulofeu, and now with the signing of Deulofeu, and they have been interested in taking out a 2-year loan option on Paco Alcácer, and apparently at the end of that 2-year loan they would then have an obligation to buy him, so they'd have to buy him at the end of that loan period, and that's what Barcelona and Watford are discussing right now, according to Sport. We're going to have to wait and see if anything comes of that. Like I say, there's not an awful lot of time left in the transfer window for Premier League sides. They will be getting a bit desperate, they will be looking to bring in new faces, and Paco Alcácer, if we're going to let him leave the club, could be on his way to the Premier League. And I would also assume that Munir El Haddadi's future would be pretty closely tied to that of Paco Alcácer. I would have thought that we would keep one of them at least this season going forward. I think two of them would probably be too much. They're not going to be an awful lot of game time, especially with the arrival of Malcolm as well, who can play in those front three positions. But right now it does look like Munir is one of the ones who's more likely to stay than Paco Alcácer. But according to the media in Barcelona, that is not set in stone yet. Barcelona will make a final decision on Munir when he returns from the tour in the United States. When he gets past to Barcelona, they're going to discuss a new contract with him, they're going to discuss terms, whether or not they're going to proceed with that. If he does, Valverde is happy enough to keep him, he's happy enough to count on him for the coming season, but his contract runs out in just 1 year's time. So if nothing new is agreed this summer, Barcelona will then sell Munir on. And it's interesting actually because they have received a very good offer, what Barcelona believe is a good one, from Sevilla for Munir. So if a new contract cannot be agreed, he will be moved on. But like I say, right now I get the feeling that Paco is more likely to leave and Munir is more likely to stay. And I have mentioned this one in previous videos, guys, but just to confirm on that, Alex Vidal, even though he played against Roma, you know, in the week, in the pre-season friendly, he didn't really have, to be honest, a very good performance at all. That wouldn't really have helped his value at all. But he is very, very close now to securing that return to Sevilla. 8 or 9 million euros is what the transfer fee will be. Barcelona were holding out for about 12, then it came down to 10. They've just about agreed now between 8 and 9 million. That will be concluded in the coming week or so. Vidal will probably fly home at some point or just wait until the end of the tour to secure that one, but he will be returning to Sevilla and leaving Barcelona this summer. And just before we do finish, guys, I just want to clarify some of the players, of course, coming back into Barcelona training and the exact dates of some of these guys are getting back to Barcelona to start competing in some competitive action. Now, we all know that Messi's back, you know, Jordi Alba, Busquets, Piqué, those guys came back about 3 days ago now. They've been in training, they all underwent their medicals, the usual standard stuff, and everything is fine. Now, on August the 6th, Luis Suarez, Coutinho, and MINA will all return to Barcelona training, and then on August the 13th, it's the final batch of players: Ousmane Dembele, Samuel Umtiti, Ivan Rakitic, and Thomas Vermaelen. That's the last time for those players to come back. August the 13th, that's when everybody will be back in training, a day after our Super Cup game against Sevilla. So we're going to have to see what sort of team we're going to go with that game. That's why that pre-season is really important. We're not going to have all the players at our disposal for that first competitive game, so Valverde needs to make sure that he's bloody slotting those players in, that everybody's ready, and those who he has right now might end up playing a part against Sevilla in the Spanish Super Cup. So leave me your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. What do you think of the news that we've been breaking today? What do you think of the potential signing of 19-year-old Wague? Is he a good signing? Is it good to see somebody come in as a backup for Semedo and then Roberto into midfield? And what do you think of our player sales? Are we likely to see MINA move on, ALCÁCER or MUNIR? Which one would you choose to get rid of? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for your incredible support. I'll see you next time. But until then, as always, Visca el Barça!